It's finally finished, but we're still stuck in supernatural purgatory. This podcast is a rewatch of all 15 seasons and hopefully our way to finally escape this show.
Join us once a week for a fun, informal discussion on each episode and leave comments on any specific upcoming plot points you'd like us to discuss.
Hi.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh dear. Literally just before we started recording, we were like, is this actually helping? Because I think we've right now we've come to the consensus that it's really not helping.
Yeah, this was supposed to be like talking therapy, and I feel like it's making it worse.
It really is. Like there's certain moments, especially there's going to be moments in this that I'm not going to be able to get through because I hate you, Kripke. Oh dear. Anyway,
yes.
I guess we should get into it. So this week's episode is episode 16, and it's called Shadow.
Yes, and I thought I didn't remember this episode until I started watching it, and then I had very clear memories. It all came back to me in a rush.
An unpleasant one.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, this episode has 8.6 out of 10 on IMDb, which is a pretty high rating for a pretty good episode. And the OG crew are back. Eric Kripke wrote this episode, and it's directed by Kim Manners. So,
yeah, I didn't know who it was directed by, but there was one scene in this that I was like, oh, I know, it's Kim Manners. Like, I didn't look it up before I watched it, and like. I'll get to that scene. I'll mention it when we get to the scene. But there is I guess I've started to notice directorial styles.
I think Kim Manners is really recognisable as well. I've recently started rewatching the X-Files.
Oh no!
It's given me some kind of weird dissonance between Supernatural and the X-Files. So that was probably a mistake.
I mean, so yeah, maybe. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know what really the close comparison of the two are. So
we'll see.
So yeah, they start in Chicago, Illinois, and there's a woman who's walking down like a street in sort of like an alleyway type area, and she gets shoulder checked, which is so rude. Like,
yeah.
Why? So anyway, I don't know why I got hung up on that, but I really did. And I was just like, nobody was particularly looking. I mean, she was looking down a little bit, but like, he wasn't on his phone or anything, so just rude. Anyway,
it's funny because like he wouldn't be on his phone. This was 2006. Like people didn't do that. Really,
yeah, that's true.
That's so weird. But it wasn't that busy. No, exactly.
Yeah, like it was a deserted street, and she gets knocked, like shoulder checked by this like giant dude. It's like.
Yeah, rude.
Step off. Rude.
I guess it's adding to the tension, you know? It's a hostile area, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. But as she's walking around, like, there's I guess it's dry fog or steam or something. Like, it's like coming from the ground. Which, so I used to live in San Francisco, and like, it did happen because it was the metro underground, so like that steam did come up. But not in the, like, volumes that there was that she was walking through.
Are you telling me that's entirely like movie magic, that it's not true that like steam comes out of the grates in these big cities in America?
I mean, they do, but you don't want to be like, you want to kind of avoid them because they're gross. Like, cause it's all chemicals, it's not good for you to be like walking through it. Anyway, yeah, and she's carrying on walking. It was, for atmospheric, it was very nice. I did enjoy looking at it. Her iPod stops working, which I thought was really funny. Like, it wasn't like a good iPod either. It was like one of those really old, clunky, like first generation ones.
Yes.
Like where the actual like dial moved when you like rotated it and like clicked.
Amazing.
Yeah. I think I still have my Nano somewhere. Anyway. And then she starts to hear, like, this kind of ghost voice. I couldn't pick up what it was saying. Was it saying her name or, like...
Yeah, so I didn't get it either, so I actually put on the subtitles and it was going like Meredith.
Oh, so
it was her name, yeah.
It was creepy. It was definitely very creepy.
Yeah,
I didn't
for sure.
particularly like that.
No, I mean, there's obviously something like following her. So she does manage to get home and arm her alarm system in her apartment, and she sort of does some things. There was something very vintage about this scene. I think from her checking her voicemail, checking her iPod, the way she was even dressed, like the fashion was just like so. She was wearing like cargo trousers and like a hoodie and stuff. I don't know, but it's just like I could pinpoint the era.
Yes, definitely. It almost felt like late 1990s rather than like early 2000s. But it definitely had. I think what did it for me was like tape recorder voice message.
Yes,
like that felt more 90s than 2000s.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Also, I was gonna say, like, how is she so calm? Like she's like running, panicking, like she's shaking, trying to get into the door, and then she gets into an apartment, and like suddenly it's okay. Like I don't know if you've ever been in those situations where like you felt like you've been followed. You are not okay, like, straight away as soon as you get into an apartment or into a building. It sticks with you for a little bit longer than, like, the time it takes to get to your fridge to grab a beer and listen to messages.
Yeah, she was like, oh, the alarm's set. I'm super good. This is fine. Everything's fine now. All good. Yeah, exactly. So I really like the way they did the kind of, I guess, monster of the week in this episode, because like, as she's checking her messages and stuff, we see her in silhouette. And you kind of see this shadow thing, and it looks like it attacks her shadow rather than her, which I know obviously later I think they say that they're invisible, these demon monster things, but I just thought it looked really cool that maybe it killed her through her shadow instead of physically.
Like Peter Pan-esque.
Yes, exactly.
So the thing I really liked about this as well, like this whole little sequence, was that we learned that it's a demon, and like it moves like it did in Phantom Traveler, like the smoke coming out the grate in Phantom Traveler. It had that same like effect. So I was like, oh, it's a demon. It's like, but then we find out what exactly it is. So I thought that was really cool that it was like it was smoke and then it turned into like a shadowy figure. I have to say I love that shadowy stuff. Like. I don't know if you remember this, when I was doing my master's, and I, like, not the time I drowned you, but the other time.
Oh yeah, that's a story for another podcast, but yes, I do. Yeah, I remember that.
So that, I feel like I must have seen this episode because, or like, I must have got inspired by this episode to do it, because it was exactly what the shadowy figure looked like. I made it have, like, claws and, like, long fingers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like attacking your shadow.
That photo shoot was super fun. Maybe we should link that photo.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, we can add that one in. That'd be great. I mean, I like it as well. And we get one of the first blood splatters that we've had in a little while. I shouldn't be this excited over blood.
and it was a blood splatter before the title screen. Like it was the setup for the future.
It was. I loved it. It was great. It was iconic. Great.
Yes.
Sorry, had to die Meredith before our blood splatter, but yeah.
You know, there has to be a sacrifice, and it was you.
It was you this time. I'm sorry. So we come back 1 week later, and the Impala rolls up, and we see Dean and Sam get out, and they are dressed in like boiler suits for an alarm company. And I find it really funny that they have their actual names on them.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that too. Like, I'm not even trying anymore.
Exactly. And so like Sam's reading a newspaper, and you can see that it's got the picture of Meredith on the front, so he's obviously found this case through reading articles and things. And as they get out, like Dean says something really funny. He says like, oh, you know, me and Dad never had to rely on these costumes. And it kind of answers a question that I've been thinking about for a while. And we've kind of brought it up before, like, how did they interrogate people like Dean and John? How did they do that before? He kind of answers it here. Maybe John's just got the authority that people like tell him stuff.
I guess so, because he was military, and I guess that they give off an aura of authority.
Yeah,
maybe, I don't know. Yeah, that is kind of interesting.
But yeah, so it does make you wonder, and I kind of wish some point in the show they'd shown that a little bit more about that dynamic between like Dean and John and how they sort of worked a case together, because you don't really see it often. Dean gets left behind.
I guess that they focused more on like Sam and Dean's relationship, because you're right, it would have been really interesting to see like when Dean was like 18 or 19 or early 20s, because Sam would have been at school or whatever, and like seeing how they would have functioned together. Though I couldn't imagine. It's probably more to do with finding an actor that looks to Jensen Ackles to play such a younger age, because obviously it's easier to put a child and be like, this is the younger version of this person, but when you're like a 18-year-old and like you kind of look like how you're gonna look like, they do
cast people later on, and I feel like they did like an okay, you know, they did an okay job, but I would have liked to have seen it.
De-aging on TV shows is not a thing.
No, I mean Marvel were trying it, right? But
right, but Marvel has a giant budget, so they.
That's completely true. So I mean, so they're walking into this apartment, and saying that they did fine without costumes before. Dean also teases Sam about once being like a theatre kid.
What was that play that you did? What was it? Our Town. Yeah, you were good. It was cute.
This is so great. I mean, that's so true. Like Sam, if he got the opportunity, I can see that while he was at school, he definitely would have been in the musical theatre. So they head into the apartment, and there's like the landlady showing them around. It's what I would call like a locked room mystery. Yeah, so this woman died in her apartment. All the windows and doors are locked. They had to break through the chain to get into the apartment after they noticed something was wrong. There's no signs of people breaking in, no sign of a struggle. It's all very Arthur Conan Doyle, like Sherlock mystery kind of thing.
Yeah. How did they get in? So, to go completely like off topic for a second, there was an actual case where like somebody had gotten in with like all the alarms and everything set. It was in like an apartment complex. The guy had crawled through this crawl space between like the closets, and that's how he got in. How freaking terrifying is that?
No, I'm out.
Like, oh no. And so I think it was like, it may have been like a converted house or something. I don't know exactly what it was, but I was like, oh no. I love true crime, but that made me
sometimes I don't need to know.
So, but this is not the case for this particular case, because the landlady is saying like it looks like it was a wild animal.
Yeah,
like that had just like ripped her apart. Eesh.
Yeah. So they managed to convince the landlady that they'd like some time alone in the apartment because they're with the alarm company. And this whole time, like, she's great. She's like, well, your alarms are rubbish.
Yeah.
They do a bad job. And so as she leaves, they kind of get out all their stuff. So Sam's talking about how he found this case from an article. Dean gets out an EMF detector, and it is kind of pinging as well, isn't it? It's like making the noise, which suggests there is some activity there.
Sam asked Dean, like, did you find anything out from the police officers?
Yes.
And it's an Amy. Which, can I just ask? So my name is never in any TV show, so if I ever hear it, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Is it weird hearing your name in a TV show? Or is it kind of like, no?
So my name's fairly common, I guess, and there are a few Amy's on TV. So the thing is, the first time you hear it in a TV show, you do kind of pay attention to it. You're like, what? what? But I'm able to remove it from myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not too bad, and it's weirder when it's a one-off thing like this. It's like, oh, that's how my name sounds being said by them.
Especially in a flirtatious way.
Yeah, but but when it's like a character called, you know, your name, I think I can remove myself from that fine. Yeah, but yeah, it was nice. So Dean talked to Officer Amy, and I said it's implied that he flirted with her, went drinking, and then slept with her.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. From the things that he said.
Yeah, spoke to Amy, a charming, perky officer of the law.
So, but he didn't find out any other information other than that her heart was missing.
Yeah.
Which is not brought up again at all.
It's not. No. Is this the first monster that we've seen that's taken like a body part?
Oh, good question.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
They mentioned a werewolf, but they haven't come across one, and like the Wendigo like obliterated its victims, so like completely ate its victims. So there was nothing left behind. I think this is the first one that a specific body part has been taken.
Yeah, I think so. And they specifically mentioned werewolves. And I would say in our world of lore, like, I don't know that werewolves are generally related to like taking hearts, and they're maybe establishing that as one of the supernatural lore things.
Yeah,
I don't know.
guess you're right.
But yeah, I thought that was quite interesting, and maybe sets up for a werewolf episode later on. So, right. Dean spots something. Like he spots something in the blood splatter, and he asks Sam for some tape, and he kind of connects all the dots. He does like a dot to dot of the blood splatter, and he finds this symbol, which is kind of like a circle and two sort of hooks coming out. It looks like the letter Z, which is awesome. But he's so smart. All through this episode, people call him dumb as well. They're like, oh yeah, Sam does it with the research, Meg does it later. And I'm just like, he made a really good connection here. Can we please get off the, like, Dean Winchester isn't smart? Like, yeah.
No, so I made the same thing. It was another really smart Dean moment. Like, who looks at that and sees a pattern?
Exactly.
It was yeah, no. I guess because, you know, we've seen it in the very first episode. He was outrageously flirting with Jessica and like some of the other women that like he kind of comes across a little bit as a himbo.
Yes, that's a good one. Yes, yeah.
But like, he's really not.
He's really not. Yeah, I don't like. Let's stop other characters referring to Dean as stupid. I don't like it anymore. I'm not here for it. It's blatantly not true.
I feel like that doesn't get dropped until like.
I don't think it ever gets dropped.
It does get dropped. It definitely gets dropped. But so it gets dropped to the point like. I don't want to say when it gets dropped because it's obvious when it gets dropped.
Okay, fine.
But so I feel like another point where it gets dropped is after Lisa and Ben.
Yeah.
I think after that we don't really like. We see him being like silly, but not like referred to as stupid.
Yeah. Okay. I'll keep an eye out for it because it's like I feel very protective. I'm like, how dare you?
No, and I agree. Like, he's not stupid, not even remotely. But
yeah. Anyway, I mean, to be fair though, just to get a little bit out of this is they say that they've like never seen this symbol before. So how would you connect those dots? Almost.
Yeah. I know, like. Unless it's so I don't ever really remember seeing like an overhead shot of it before he's taped it up, because it does look like there could be something there, because it is very like, I guess, localized and not sort of so the thing is though, which I have not quite understood, is how and why did this creature, leave a symbol like that?
So it was, I mean, I guess knowing the end of this episode and everything, it was left there to be found, right?
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Yeah. Anyway, it's good. I like it. The whole tape scene was quite good.
Yeah. Dean's concentration face is something to behold.
I agree.
After they've, we've revealed this symbol and they don't know what it is, they go do research in the one place that they always do research. The bar.
Actually, one of the worst places to go do research. I mean, they were following a lead, I guess, but
yeah, that's true. Well, we don't know that until a little bit later on in the scene, so it is just like, oh, we're in a bar again. But okay, this happened in last week's episode, the Benders. They were in a bar there too.
Yeah,
for no reason. They weren't following a lead then. It was just, I guess they go to a bar so that Dean can hustle the people, right?
Yeah, I think that's how they make their money, and a lot of it. So yeah, that's very true. So yes, we sort of see Dean flirting with the bartender, trying to, I guess, sweet talk her into some information, though I don't think that necessarily works. And Sam arrives, and Dean comes over to him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I talked to the bartender." And the Sam says here so funny. It's like, "Did you get anything besides her number?"
And I like the kind of awkward shoulder shuffle that Dean does. It was like, of course, and then he's like, well, I did. And holds up a bar napkin and it's got her number on it.
You get anything besides her number? Dude, I'm a professional. I'm offended that you would think that.
He looks super pleased with himself with that. There's some really good little back and forth moments in this episode that are just, they're just really, really, really great. So I mean, they find, he's basically found out that they're there because Meredith was a waitress there, but she was completely normal. Nothing strange or weird surrounding her at all. Sam hasn't found anything out on the symbol, but they did find out that there was another victim before Meredith, a guy named Ben Swardstrom, but they don't seem to have any connection whatsoever to each other at all. And while they're having this conversation, Sam sort of spots something behind Dean and gets up and walks through the bar. The camera shot's very close in on his face as he walks through the bar. And it's Meg. Meg's back.
Meg is back. And that was very I guess, as obviously it's not going to be lucky because it's a TV show, but can you imagine if he just had gone up to somebody who looked kind of like Meg? Because he goes up behind her, so it's not even he saw maybe the side of her face. No, he just saw the back of her and was like, "That's Meg. I need to go talk to her right now." I was just like, can you imagine if it wasn't? It would have been
that would be very funny, yeah. That's very true, actually. How did this? Yeah, it was quite a long way to spot her from. So I mean, she gets up, she hugs Sam, and he says "Oh yeah, I'm here with friends, but they're not, And she immediately calls him out on stuff.
Yeah,
which I find really funny. One thing I have to say here, so I mean, obviously we know that Meg is later played by a different actor as well, Rachel Miner. And just some of her mannerisms in this episode, I realised how good Meg 2.0 is.
Yeah, definitely. I noticed that too. That kind of snarkiness and
yes,
the sort of bluntness of it all. Mm-hmm. She Rachel Miner did a really good job of continuing this sort of character development, because the first Meg that we meet is she's very subdued and
mm-hmm.
I guess she's information gathering rather than trying to get something. Whereas this episode, she's now using the information that she knows.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way that she talks to Dean, because Dean's lurking in the background,
yes, coughing,
and he's like, "Can you cover your mouth?" And I was like, "Oh, snap!" Yes. Yeah, it was very good.
It's nice watching this back because I can see the connection between the two now. Whereas maybe I couldn't see it as much when I first watched this. As you said, like, Dean's hovering in the background, and can we just appreciate this masterclass again in face acting, because his face in this scene is hilarious. Sam's very sincere and sort of like very cheerful, and like he's talking to Meg, and Dean's just behind him making faces. Essentially.
Yeah, definitely. So though we kind of start to kind of this little conversation before Meg confronts Dean, you kind of start to see a little bit of suspicion in Sam, because he's like, hey, like, what happened to LA? And he's like, and Meg's like, well, you know, it wasn't for me, like, I decided to move on. He's like, oh, so you're from here? She's like, no, I'm from Andover, Massachusetts. He's like, well, I didn't get your last name. So he's really trying to find more information about her. Yeah. Which is, I mean, he did pretty well. Though, of course, like, because we know who Meg is, she's not falling for it. And, like, gives him the correct information, but, like, knows why he wants that information. I guess.
That's right. Yeah, she's definitely onto him being suspicious, I think. There's a funny little line in that, actually, where, you know, she says she went to California, and she says, like, you know, I came, I saw, I conquered.
I came, I saw, I conquered. Oh, and I met, what's his name? Something Michael Murray at a bar.
Who?
It doesn't matter.
And that's a reference to, like, Chad Michael Murray, who's another actor who used to work with Jared, who's, like, his friend, which is even funnier when he's like, who?
So I did find that kind of weird how, like, specific they got. I was like, why does it, like, what? But, like, yeah, no, I do enjoy when you find out why it's in there. It's very good.
Yeah, and it's almost like it's just to make the cast laugh. Like, it's not even for anyone. Like, it's which I love. Like, just an inside joke. Like, the audience don't. That's just going to be a throwaway line for them. They don't like what. But yeah, I love little things like that. Just there, kind of for the cast and crew. So, I mean, Meg really kind of lays into Dean here. Yeah, so she's kind of rehashing the argument that they had during Scarecrow, because Sam told her all about Dean in that bus station. And she says that, you know, you treat your brother like luggage.
Nice. The way you treat your brother like luggage.
Sorry?
Why don't you let him do what he wants to do? Stop dragging him over God's green earth.
I say, Dean looks confused. He doesn't look mad, though. He's just like, why is this random person knowing like, stuff about me? Whereas I think Sam looks maybe a bit guilty about the fact that he told this person all their personal stuff.
Yeah, I guess, like, he might have kind of forgotten a little bit of, like, how much he ranted at her. Truly, there was a lot of information that he gave away. Like,
yeah, definitely.
But, I mean, at this point, Sam hadn't really accepted the life yet. In Scarecrow, he was still whining about, like, wanting to find John and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Especially after the phone call that they received. But I feel like the event in Nightmare, because I mean, again, they're sort of ignoring his psychic powers. I'll bring this up in a little bit, but
yeah,
he's starting to accept that, like, he's a hunter now, kind of, and so he doesn't feel that same way anymore. He did, obviously, at the time, but not anymore.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he is genuinely, like, has moved on from that argument that they had in Scarecrow. I genuinely believe that. So yeah, for it to be brought up again is probably a bit awkward. And I think Dean even says that he's just like, this is awkward, and, like, leaves.
Yeah. Well, so he's. I wrote here that Dean is a bit like Cass in being, like, in this conversation, like, being the awkward third wheel. Because he really is. He's just sort of there, like, hey, yeah, you're gonna like just let her talk to me like that, but, like, not really. It just made me laugh. Like, he was just kind of there.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So as Dean walks off, like, Meg apologizes, and just the little references here and the things that she says, the lines in this episode. She says, "Oh, you know, the way he treats you. If it were me, I'd kill him." And she also says, She also says, Meg, we should, Meg says, we should hook up while we're in town. I'll show you a hell of a time. And I just felt a little, wink and nudge at the girl.
Yeah, this was definitely written by Kripke, because he knows where it's going, so he's just like, haha, gonna leave these subtle foreshadowing moments, da-da-da.
Yes.
I hate you.
God damn you, Kripke.
And so they exchange phone numbers, and it's like, is Sam flirting? Because it's weird. I don't know how I feel about that.
I've never really thought about the Meg Sam dynamic ever until this episode, and it's weird, right?
It is weird, especially since it's only after the events of this.
Yeah,
that dynamic is never there again.
No, which is completely
which is
understandable.
good.
Okay, so they leave the bar, and Dean kind of confronts Sam a bit about, who was that? Who was that? Why does she know all this? And he's kind of being snarky about it. Just being Dean.
Being angry Dean.
Yeah, he was really mad about it. I think he was just a bit hurt and upset that he was spouting all this stuff to this random lady.
Put yourself in that position for a second.
Yeah.
You have this person you've never met before, chew you out for, a very personal reason. Not even, you smell bad. No, this is an emotional attack from a stranger. Of course you're going to be what the hell is this?
Exactly, yeah. So he's really hurt. But, Sam's kind of just immediately well, no, actually, it's really suspicious that she's here.
Yeah.
So he kind of shuts down that sort of line that they're talking about, but and he's saying that it's really odd. And I think Sam says here that coincidences happen, but not to us, essentially.
Yeah.
And you're like, yes, Sam, you hit the nail on that head.
Yes. Yeah. And he also says the supernatural word, so I thought that was funny.
They both said it now. Yeah, they both said it now.
Yeah, they have. They both said it. Yeah, that was very. That was. If only they kept that line of thinking for all of it.
Yeah, just keep remembering this. Coincidences aren't great,
Yeah.
Anyway.
So Sam delegates basically and says that Dean should go research the symbol that they found, the victims, and find out who Meg is as well. Since now that he knows her name's Meg Masters and she's from Andover, Massachusetts. Dean's like, well, what are you gonna do? He's like, I'm gonna go follow Meg, and his face is so bad. But so, do you remember in Hookman? Dean said that next time he was going to follow the cute girl. Well, he didn't.
That's completely true. That's completely true. It's weird because this woman's just turned up, chewed him out, but he's still kind of rooting for Sam to go hook up with her.
I guess because he wants Sam to get over Jessica. It must be
he's fully on the Meg and Sam train. He's really teasing him about it. Yeah, so they split up a little bit later. Obviously, Dean ringing Sam about, and he's still teasing him about Meg. It's still doing it, but he says that she checks out, she exists. She is a person. She comes from the place that she said she came from, and that the symbol that they found is Zoroastrian, which is pre-biblical. It's really old, and it's a sign for things called the Deva, which are demons of darkness.
I've not looked into this, but on IMDb it says that apparently means wrong god or false god, not demon of darkness. Whether this is true or not is the internet. You can go look for yourself, but we'll go with it's demon of darkness. So I thought it was funny that so after Dean basically confirms that like Meg is like who she says she is.
Yeah.
He's like, why don't you take her to like a poetry reading or whatever you do? So Sam is outside of Meg's apartment, and like he's like looking at a window. The light's on, and then the light's off, and then the light comes on, and we see Meg, and she is just in a bra, and it's super creepy. Sam looking in windows seems to be his thing, because he did this in Hookman. Like he was watching the girl and the father like argue. But then he gets totally called out by like some stranger.
I think that's so funny. The thing that I was thinking about is like, how do you do a stakeout in a Chevy Impala? That car's a big car.
It's a big car. It's a loud car, and it's like not a normal like it's not something you just see around.
It's like, recognizable, like
yeah, like surely you would get like a Toyota Corolla, like the car that's everywhere, or like something. Yeah,
they need a stakeout car, because I was just thinking the whole time, like he definitely just should have got spotted. Well, maybe he did, to be fair. Like, well, he did by that lady.
Yeah, no, it's and like, well, did Meg ever see the Impala though? I don't think she did, because Sam walks back to the town, or like no, he hotwires a car in Scarecrow, so she never actually sees what car they drive. So
yeah, but I feel like she would know, you know.
Yeah, she definitely knows because of who she is. Like, there's obviously information, which but even still, like, it's not an inconspicuous car.
No, exactly.
Which I guess it makes sense for like. So Meg gets dressed, and it's like she comes out, and it makes sense why Sam gets out of the car rather than drives to follow her.
But I still feel like she knew he was there the whole time. Like, I feel like she was there the whole time. So I guess the theory holds true that you can't stake out anybody in the Impala, because she did know he was there. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting hung up on this.
Well, no, you're right, and that's probably the reason why that stranger spoke to him as well, because it's a gleaming black car that you don't see, and there's a guy like looking into a window, like.
They need to get called out more often on this, but yes.
So yes. Oh, before we follow Sam, in the conversation with Dean, when he reveals that it's a Deva, it's established that they can be summoned and that they can be controlled, but they do not like being controlled, but they can be, and that it's like I said, it's pre-biblical, and the person has to really know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. It's important.
In order to know, like, in order to control one of these demons of darkness. Yeah,
exactly. So I mean, so Sam follows Meg. He follows her like down this sort of dark alley into what they later call a warehouse, but it just looks like an abandoned building. And I just said here, like, as he's walking into this dark building, and he walks into kind of an empty elevator shaft. I know he said lift shaft, but that's a UK thing. The lighting here is real good. It's
so
nice.
It was this scene that I was like, oh, this is Kim Manners.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the lighting reminded me of when Dean was in the cave. That kind of light, and they did the same kind of overhead lighting here.
So he's like walking through this warehouse abandoned building, and he comes across like a locked door that needs like a code combination, and then he sees the elevator shaft, and it was him. He then decides to climb up it, because that's what you do. So like I wrote here. Do you really think you're that sneaky, Sam? You're a giant. Like, he's like how he has such a huge presence that like you're not gonna easily follow somebody. Let's be real. Anyway, but he starts to climb up this like 1920s elevator shaft.
Yeah.
and it was this, like, the way that, like, the light is coming through the grates and, like, the angle was when I was like, oh no, yeah, this is definitely Kim Manners.
Yes.
I was like, oh, there it is. There it is! And it's funny because, like, I feel like if I ever see that again, and it's not related to Supernatural, I'm probably gonna think it's Kim Manners.
You need to watch the X-Files.
Yeah, I think I do. But, like, overall, this was really good. Like, the way that they built up tension and stuff was really, it's really engaging. Like, I honestly thought that he was gonna get caught here.
Yeah, same.
And so I was like, oh, when's it gonna happen? So he climbs up. Do you think, I think it's about 3 stories, right?
Yeah, it looked high. Like, it looked a lot of climbing, for sure.
Yeah. It was, yes. Good, another bit of good face acting in this too. Like, well, I say good in quotation marks, as in it's funny. In that, like, struggle faces.
Yes, I love struggle face.
As Sam climbs up, this is pretty great. And then he, like, hides in the corner.
Yeah.
Like,
he should have known this was a trap, because first of all, how does no one hear, like, a large man climbing like a lift shaft, because that's gonna make a lot of noise.
Very echoey, and, like, it's all metal, and, like, you're not Spider-Man. Like, you don't have a light touch. You're
I don't know why that's so funny. Like, Sam, you're not Spider-Man. And then he doesn't even hide that well. So yeah, he should have known it was a trap. Like, Sam, you're smarter than this. But he sees Meg, like, chanting and doing her thing with her weird goblet. I've called it a goblet in my notes because I like that word.
I called it the blood bowl telephone.
Blood bowl telephone. Yes. But he sees her do all her stuff, and then she leaves. So he goes and has a little look around, and he sees the sigil, the Zoroastrian symbol in blood on this altar. So, yeah, she's a baddie.
She is a baddie. It's confirmed. She's not one of the good guys.
Exactly. And then the scene that follows, so it just cuts back to Sam arriving at the hotel they're staying, is amazing, because... Oh,
wait. Okay. So this was where the bad hair was highlighted for me. Okay. So he climbs out of, like, his hiding spot, and, like, he's stood by the door, the lift door, or grate, and, like, the way that the lighting is, like, you can see how, like, the sides of his hair is, like, tufted up to the side, and, like, it's a really bad hair moment. I was just like, oh,
look,
no.
I feel extremely called out, because when I was, I don't know, 14, that was my hair. I don't know if you remember, it was bright red, but that was my hair. It was flicked out, I looked like a cartoon character, so I guess me and Sam do have some sort.
I do vaguely remember that. Yeah, I do vaguely remember that. But, like, the thing is, the difference is, right, you're 14 by yourself. He's on a national TV show.
Yeah.
With hair and makeup.
The thing is, the hair can look good. We've seen the hair look good. So I don't know why they're doing him dirty like this. Because... Exactly. Like, they definitely can style his hair better. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Never mind. It gets better.
It does get better. And I think even, like... Well, no, we have another season of dodgy ass hair.
Yeah. So after this scene is, like, it's just one of my favourite things that they do occasionally. They do it in Asylum as well, where sort of Sam walks into this hotel room and Dean's ready to talk to him, and they both turn to each other and say at the exact same time, like, I gotta talk to you.
Dude, I gotta talk to you.
I find it so funny when they talk in unison, and like, I just love it. It's near and dear to my heart.
It was very good. And like, I wonder how many times they have to do that, or like, especially in the beginning. I feel like towards the end they kind of know like each other to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Or in later seasons, but like, yeah, it was great. It was really great. It made me very happy.
So I mean, Sam tells Dean about Meg, and Dean immediately says, "Oh, Sammy's got a thing for a bad girl."
How? Like, I guess he still wants to like his whole like make a joke out of everything.
Yeah,
is very strong at this point because like he just explained that he was a bad guy and he had a bowl of blood. Like, come on.
Yeah. Life is a constant joke to do.
And Dean also explains that all of the victims all of the two victims had a connection to Lawrence, Kansas, which we know is their hometown. So that was kind of spooky. But then, so after he's just made this like girlfriend joke, he then goes around and says that we have to go kill her now. It's just like pick a lane. It's like, does Sam get laid by her or do you kill her?
The switches is like, yeah.
He goes from like brother mode to hunter mode like instantly.
Yeah, the switch has been flipped on Meg for sure. So I mean, like, they talk about like how is it all connected? You know, because of the like Lawrence, Kansas thing, because of demons, because of Meg, like what's going on, and they kind of come to the conclusion that, oh, well, maybe this is the demon that killed Mom, like killed Mary. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Dean makes a decision to ring John. Ooh, this must have been, yeah, like. It makes sense. It makes total sense. I don't feel like it was a hard decision for him to make either. I think he was quite happy to do it.
This was definitely different to Home.
Oh, I can't talk about it.
Yeah, I guess that barrier has already been broken a little bit, and also since John has like explained a little bit as to what's going on, not fully, but like has given them an indication that it's a demon, and that that it could be anywhere and everywhere. So it's kind of easy to see why they would call John, because that he needs to be involved at this point.
Exactly. I mean, he still doesn't pick up though, does he? It's still a voicemail that Dean has to leave.
Well, I mean, he obviously, like, he never answers the phone though. Like he never has. So I also thought that was weird, but at the same time, like, it does make sense that it wouldn't go straight through. Like,
yeah, you're right.
It would be unusual for John to pick up the phone, but it is weird that like he didn't call back as soon as he heard.
Yeah, that is weird. I didn't really think of that, but yeah, he should have definitely called back.
Because they don't suspect it's a trap at this point. Not really. No. I mean, there's no reason to, because Sam thinks he was,
being sneaky.
Batman. Lurking in shadows and stuff. I can't do this next bit. This next bit is like the worst part of the entire episode. Yeah. We'll start easy and go from there. Okay. So Dean's just left the voicemail saying that they think it might be related. Mm-hmm. Oh, and this is because of what Sam overheard with Meg, because she says that like someone's coming to town and it's for the boys, and it's very much indication that she is there for them.
Yes,
for
exactly.
Sam and Dean. Mm-hmm. So they start to get ready. So like they have their toys, their guns. They're like prepping, and because they don't know how to stop the Deva, but they figured anything and everything. They know they have to destroy the altar, and then Sam asks Dean if he is nervous.
Yeah. So, I mean, he says no, obviously. Like, why would would you expect any other answer? But he looks nervous. The face.
Well, Does he look... Yeah, a little bit. I feel like Sam is more nervous than it, like... Or, like... Maybe not nervous, but, like, anticipation.
He seems nervous but excited, right? Yeah, I think so.
But Dean seems nervous but afraid?
Concerned, yeah.
Concerned? So I wrote a question before the next, because I can't write and listen at the same time, so I usually end up pausing as I'm, like, watching. So I paused it before this next bit, and I wrote, do you think Dean is cautious because he doesn't want to stop hunting with Sam? Little did I know that what was going to happen next.
Yeah, I'd wipe this from my mind, like, on the rewatch. Yes.
Yeah, because Sam then explains that, you know, if it is the demon, then he gets to go back to college and be a normal person again. So this is where, like, I feel like they forget that he has psychic powers. Like, you're not going to be normal. They haven't related anything with his psychic powers yet.
No.
Like, it's just something that happened, and the same thing happened to Max, and his mother died, and all that kind of stuff. So, how do you think you're going to be normal again?
Maybe he thinks if he could... Because, like, Sam's smart. He must have made a connection between, like, Lawrence, demons, mum on fire, psychic powers. Like, that, you know, it's all kind of connected. So maybe he thinks that if they kill the demon, like, his powers will go away, or I guess maybe he'll keep them, but no one will be after him anymore. I don't know. Like, yeah, there are times in this story they completely ignore that, and this is one of them.
I think it's for convenience. But Dean recognizes that there's always going to be a big bad. Like, as soon as they get rid of this demon, something else will come up that will take its place.
You want to go back to school?
Yeah, once we're done hunting the thing. Why? Is there something wrong with that?
No, it's great. Good for you.
I mean, what are you going to do when it's all over?
It's never going to be over. There's going to be others. There's always going to be something to hunt.
But there's got to be something that you want for yourself.
Yeah, I don't want you to leave the second this thing's over, Sam.
It's a little bit meta in that, like, or kind of like, because obviously it's a TV show, so of course that always has to be a big bad. Otherwise, there's no show. Like, you can't just have a season of just, like, one-off stories. It wouldn't make a good show. So it's just kind of interesting. Dean actually kind of implies that he never needed to get Sam. Like, he didn't need to get Sam from college in order to find John. He did it because he wanted to bring his family together, and, like, they wanted to be hunting again together.
Why do you think I drag you everywhere? Huh? And why do you think I came and got you at Stanford in the first place?
Because Dad was in trouble. Because you wanted to find the thing that killed Mom.
Yes, that, but it's more than that, man.
There was one line here that just... Because they're talking about Sam getting back to his normal life and things, and Sam says to Dean, there has to be something that you want for yourself. Mm-hmm. And Dean says, yeah, I don't want you to leave. And I just think of all the people in his life that he's not wanted to leave. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. Because you're right. What he says is that he didn't need to go get Sam. He wanted to go get Sam because he wanted his family together. And if we can condense Dean Winchester into one statement, it's that he wants a family, right? Yeah. That's all Dean has ever wanted. He wants a family. And he even says it. He says, you and me and Dad, I want us together again. I want us to be a family again.
You and me and Dad. I want us to be together again. I want us to be a family again.
Dean, we are a family. I'd do anything for you. But things will never be the way they were before.
Could be.
We have obviously watched all of the other seasons of Supernatural.
Yeah.
And
the line that got me was what was Sam's response of like, we're not going to do this. We're not going to live this life forever.
I'm not gonna live this life forever. Dean, when this is all over, you're gonna have to let me go my own way.
And something about that, I'm doing it now. I'm about to start fucking crying. Like, it hit me so hard. I was just like, oh, Sam, if only you knew.
yeah.
Like, it was so, I am literally crying.
Okay, I'll rant for you so you don't, because, yeah. This is where I have a problem with the finale, okay? Because they deserved better. They should have got everything they wanted, and this conversation. You're like, do you know what? You're right. It never ends. You don't ever get what you, like, deserve. Oh, I'm sorry, everybody.
I'm here like, oh my goodness. Oh. It was so, like, cursed with knowledge, and, like, they didn't get what they wanted. Like, it didn't work out, and I'm so sorry, Sam.
Yeah. Especially, yeah, actually, do it here, especially for Sam.
This is one of the worst scenes in a long time.
I knew rewatching Supernatural would be difficult, like knowing now everything that happens and how it ends. But I didn't think that it would be this hard sometimes to go back to these conversations, because the character development was there. Like, they did get a lot of the stuff they wanted, and they managed to move on from this mentality. Anyway,
all the way up until that last freaking episode. Anyway. Okay, I think I've calmed down enough that I can carry on.
yeah, I'm glad.
Oh God, it was. Ugh.
I feel like there are more conversations like this coming up as well, and I think we'll probably get angry at each one, because it does feel like it didn't go anywhere. I was having this conversation earlier with someone different, and I was like, it didn't go. Sometimes things didn't go anywhere. I would say, though, there's too much in this scene. Because the last thing that Sam says is like, when this is all over, you're going to have to let me go. And Dean looks pretty defiant about that. But I feel like that is directly mirrored in the last episode as well, that conversation about letting people go.
Mm-hmm. But
why are we going back to season 1?
So they are back in the warehouse, and they are now both climbed up the elevator shaft. And so Meg is chanting at this point, and like she's looking at like her altar and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I thought, okay, maybe because she has to concentrate, and like that's why she didn't hear them. But like, really, come on, like they can't be that quiet. Like the only thing that's keeping the gate open is like a chain. So as soon as you start moving that like door, it's gonna start making noises.
Yeah.
So it was, but Meg does eventually call them out and says like, it's not nice to be lurking in the shadows.
Yeah, exactly.
So she knew. She commands Deva to attack. And like, it's got some nasty claws.
Yeah.
Like, I know people have pointed this out before, but this is the first time that we've kind of really seen it. Like, the scar or the wound on Sam's face is massive. Like, there is no way that you cannot get that stitched up and you can't see it. Like, he would have scars on his face.
Yeah. I thought the exact same thing. The exact same conversation came up with me, because especially, you're right, the face wounds. Could we not have had like a cool scar at some point?
Yeah, like especially this one. I don't recall all of the times that they got hit in the face, but like, and it's a little bit different when like the angels start to get involved. But this is going to be healed by like, not even like doctors. Probably they're probably going to stitch up themselves.
Yeah, this
right?
is time and alcohol.
Yeah, like that's going to leave a nasty, nasty scar. But like.
I only have one scar where I cut my hand on a like glass while I was working, and that was extremely cleanly cut, right? And it's still scarred. These are like jagged, like you know,
they're rips to the skin, like
ooh, Yui.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I'm fine. I guess continuity makes it difficult.
Yeah, no, it does, and like. Especially with later on with how they like test themselves. I'll just put it that way. It sounds weird, but like, could they not at least then? Like, they wear long sleeves, so could they not at least have like? I don't know. I guess TV magic can't always work.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, they get attacked. It's a cool kind of like silhouette fight again. I really like it. I thought it was cool, and it was probably really interesting to act as well because I think they would have just had to like
throw themselves
onto the ground. Yeah, exactly. So it kind of like cuts out as they're getting attacked by this shadowy Deva, and then we see Sam waking up. And he is tied up, and Dean is already awake and looking at him.
Oh, when are they ever not going to get knocked out and tied up?
It happens so much.
It does. It really does.
And it finally comes to Sam like, oh yeah, this was a trap.
Yep, it was a trap. But it wasn't a trap for them. It was a trap for John.
Yeah. So, I mean... Meg says that she used the Lawrence, Kansas connection literally just to draw them in. And I think the line she says here was one of the ones that made me think of Meg 2.0 as well.
It was just to draw you in, that's all.
You killed those two people for nothing.
Maybe I killed a lot more for a lot less.
Yeah, that's a very Meg line, that is.
Yeah, that definitely is.
They are essentially bait for John.
Because the demons know that John's like one real weakness is his sons and his family. Mm-hmm. And I've heard here it's the Winchester weakness, family.
Yeah.
It really is. Like
it really is.
They know that if you attack one of them, they're all gonna like come together and like it's kind of interesting. They say that they really think John is the smartest man alive, don't they?
Because the hero worship is intense.
It's so strong.
Yeah.
Because they're saying, oh, you know, he's going to know it's a trap. He's never going to be in town. And Meg actually tells them that actually he is. We know he's in town. You know, like Sam's trying to reason with, because they don't know what Meg is at this point. They just think that she's working for the demon. So they probably think she's like a witch or something. And you know, Sam's trying to convince her that, like, you don't have to do this. You know, why are you doing this? And she says that it's for the same reasons that you do it. Loyalty and love is where I came to think that because of what happens, why Meg is grateful to the Winchesters.
Yeah.
I can't really go any further than that at this point, just because it is a huge spoiler for like seasons 1 and 2 and 3, like the next 3 seasons. I mean, it should be obvious, just because we know what Meg's connection is. So that is where I think that she doesn't necessarily. She has a little bit of a soft spot for the Winchesters later on, well, she definitely does, and then like. Then the whole connection with Cass, which I thought was really sweet. Actually, I did enjoy that. So yeah, that's why I think that she's grateful to the Winchesters.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'd be interesting to see her dynamic as we get more into those episodes as well. I'm looking forward to more Meg episodes, to be honest.
She's a really good character. Like, I'm glad that she's one character that actually persisted as long as Sam and Dean. Really, I mean. Granted, the actor changed, but like the character didn't.
Yeah. I really like. I'm glad that she was in some of the I say later seasons, like mid-seasons as well. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there is a kind of clue to who she is that she says here, because Sam tells her to go to hell.
What kind of deal you got worked out here, huh? And with who?
I'm doing this for the same reasons you do what you do. Loyalty. Love. Like the love you have for Mommy and Jess.
Go to hell.
Baby, I'm already there.
They're not good enough yet to pick up on the demon subtext.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Like, they don't really lie to you. They're kind of straightforward.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so like this whole weird bit with Sam.
Yeah.
Oh, it's uncomfortable. There's so many times in the seasons that they kind of use. Oh, I don't know how to put this without it sounding icky.
Just say it.
They use kind of a weird kind of like, I would say, sexual energy for distractions.
They do. And like what makes it even worse is that like you're sat like 6 feet, not even 6 feet away from your brother, and like you have this woman grinding up on you. I was just like, oh.
Yeah, it was awkward.
It was very awkward.
I feel sorry for for Sam and Dean, because they often have to get, like, they often are in this position, and it's so totally like inappropriate. It's often with bad guys. They do this in a lot of TV shows and things, I feel.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
But it's a shame, because I kind of get it as a distraction technique here, I guess, but I just wish it wasn't so icky.
Right, and the thing is, like, I don't quite understand Meg's motivation behind, like, there was nothing that Sam did that would lead you to believe that he wanted Meg to be up on his lap, kind of thing. It was just like she initiated it.
It's just because of the like power dynamic. Like, he's tied up.
Yeah.
It's just like showing her more as a bad guy, I think.
Yeah. It was so awkward that I didn't really pay attention to what she was saying. I was just like, can we get over this, please?
Yeah, like, I don't want to watch this. Like, yeah.
It was like my full-on Englishness came out of like not wanting to be in any kind of sexual situation.
Complete prude. Yeah, that's me as well. I get it. Yeah, I completely understand.
It's just like, like, yeah, especially since like Sam is not known for like, if it was Dean, because we kind of see this with in Route 66. Yeah, 666. Like when he gets on with Cassie, it wasn't that awkward. It was like, I mean, granted, they were two good guys, and you know they were once in a relationship, but it didn't feel that like weird. Mm-hmm. But and again, it's because it's in Dean's like character to be flirtatious and like suggestive. Whereas we haven't really seen that with Sam. Like, he's been kind of awkwardly flirting, like in Hookman. Yeah. With the sorority girl. But, like, never anything this, like, aggressive.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just go into this for a second. Like, I think Dean's flirtatiousness is so much of, like, a performance, right? It's like an act. Yeah. It's, like, how he thinks he should be presenting himself. Whereas, like, Sam, I feel like, is a bit more in tune with himself, and he knows he's not. So yeah, it was awkward, it was weird, but I mean, Dean does use it as a distraction to try and cut himself loose. Unfortunately, Meg catches him, this is great, as she like walks back over to Sam and like sits on him again, and she's like, "You trying to use me as a distraction so your brother can get free?" And he's like, "No, like, I have a knife." I love it when I also love it when characters headbutt someone and then are like, "Ow," because yes, you can
give it a little bit of realisticness, because headbutting someone is not an option. Like, you can really do damage to yourself too.
Yes, exactly.
If you don't do it correctly. Yeah, no, it was good. It was a good one. So he then goes over to the altar and like tips it. So this is the second time that they've like destroyed an altar by just like flipping the table. Now, I'm not any sort of like witchy expert in any sense of the word, but like How does that break a spell? Because like, is it because it has to be things have to be in a certain spot? Like that's what the thing is. Because like, what does that do? Like, if a spell is cast, surely the spell is cast.
Yeah, I literally just thought this. Like, I feel like witchcraft and like spells are just like a vibe, right? And I think that the altar is helping to like channel that vibe. So if you disrupt it, the vibe is gone.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I just love the idea of like witchcraft as a vibe. Like I'm just like, yeah, feeling it. I'm casting the spell.
Ooh,
getting all the, yeah.
Yeah, because like I know we haven't gotten that yet. Well, we kind of had a little bit of a hex bag with the home, but I don't think they called it hex bags. Like I don't know, whatever. Yeah, I was just like, because they did that in Faith, yeah. And so after Sam tips the altar, the Deva attacks Meg and like drags her away. I did like this.
Yes,
it was pretty cool.
It's a really good shot. Yeah.
And she gets dragged away and like flung out the window. And she is dead on the floor.
Yeah, so they're kind of looking at her out the window like, yep, that's Meg gone. Bye.
Yep.
So they arrive back at the hotel, duffel bag in tow, and as they walk in, there's obviously someone there because they do a nice little zoom in to Dean's face. We see someone in silhouette, and this is where I was talking about the like pilot episode with the silhouette looking like John, right? In the nursery.
Yeah.
Because they're very reminiscent of that, I feel, that shot they did, which is really clever.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, it's John.
It's John. He's there. Face to face. It only took 16 episodes, but we're here.
He's like smiling with like tears in his eyes.
Dad. Hey, boys.
But he says, "Hey, boys." I feel like this is I mean, it's not even a feeling, it's a fact. This is where it all starts, when every single big bad after this uses this phrase. Hey, boys, hello, boys. Like, you hear that and you know there's something's gonna be said.
Exactly. So Dean and John go in for a hug, and it's a classic Winchester hug. And that's what I'm going to call it, like, full body, like, hug. Like,
it's like hip, well, not even hip, it's like knees to shoulders togetherness. Yeah. Okay, this is outside of the episode. But, like, so this is the first time that we're seeing John and Sam and Dean interact with each other. So this is the first time that they have all acted together, Jeffrey, Dean Morgan, Jared and Jensen. Yeah. How did they get so close that they end up getting matching tattoos at Jeffrey Dean Morgan's wedding?
I mean, yeah, I think it's always been said on Supernatural that they had a nice dynamic on the set. So, I mean, you don't know how much time people spend outside of work and stuff, I guess. Like, yeah. You know, I don't work with anyone that I would get matching tattoos with, but...
Yeah, no. So it just blew my mind. I mean, that was a very intimate, like, close hug. So like, you get friendly fast.
It really highlights to me as well how much Dean looks like John. They did such a good job casting Jeffrey Dean Morgan here.
They did, and like, so it's funny because I also see Sam in John too. Yeah, like Dean has John's jaw, and Sam has John's nose. Yeah,
it's so funny.
Yeah,
it's a stylistic thing as well. Like, they're just so like, Dean obviously dresses like John. Like, his hair is styled like his. Like, he obviously, we already know he like hero worships a man, so he dresses like him, acts like him. Most, you know, where it's really interesting to see Sam. I feel like his long hair sometimes is kind of a choice to like not.
As rebellion to. Yeah. I mean, it kind of makes sense because I don't think you're allowed to have long hair in the army. and they were raised in like an army type household. Exactly. So of course, the moment that he can get free, he starts growing out his hair. Of course,
yeah, fully believe it. And yeah, I mean, obviously the dress is kind of the same, but like Sam still manages to keep kind of his own style, I feel, whereas like Dean and John dress very similarly as well. Anyway, just an observation. So I did notice that, like, obviously Sam doesn't hug John here.
It definitely has that feel of, like, you know when you sometimes, like, plan a conversation that you're going to have with somebody? Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've ever done this. And, like, you've done it so many times, but that when it actually comes to the moment to do it, like, none of it really works out. Because Sam has spoken about, like, what he's going to say to John. Like, he said he's going to apologize. He said he's going to get angry. He's going to do this, that, and the other. But when it comes down to it, like, I like, as much as Sam denies that he doesn't, like, he wants his own life and stuff, he probably doesn't. He probably does want his family back too, just not in the same situation.
Yeah. I think if they were, I say, like, normal, you know, if John was a mechanic, you know, if they left the life and John became a mechanic again, and I don't know, Dean helped him, and like, he definitely would want contact with them. You know, if they weren't hunting anymore, they would all be a family together. But I think it's the hunting and the lifestyle they has a problem with. But unfortunately for Sam, that's also all he knows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
And his associates with them. I mean, yeah, so John says that he got there just in time to see, like, Meg fall out the window. And he says, like, oh, I assume she was the bad guy. And they both say, like, yes, sir, again, in unison.
Daddy was a trap. No, I'm sorry.
It's all right. I thought it might have been.
Were you there?
Yeah, I got there just in time to see the girl take the swan dive. She was the bad guy, right?
Yes, sir.
Good.
It's a weird thing for me. I don't know if it's as weird for Americans, but I have never referred to any of my parents as like sir or ma'am. It's not really a done thing by like British people, but I assume from TV shows that in some families that is quite normal to call people sir and ma'am.
So it is also like a regional thing too. Mm-hmm. For like in where I am, saying yes sir and no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am is considered polite. So yeah, it's definitely. I can't say for the Midwest like what that kind of is like, but in California it's not actually that common, but in the South it is.
It's from I guess like a British standpoint. It's an odd dynamic to me because if I did call anyone like sir or ma'am, they would think I was like taking the piss, like taking the mick. Like they like it wouldn't be a
genuine answer.
Yeah, like even if I was talking to someone like an authority figure, I don't know how I'd address them. Actually, that's a really weird one.
Well, like because we only used it in like school for our teachers.
Yes,
like that was the only time that like I would ever say like sir or like but we never said ma'am. We said miss.
Yeah, it's always miss. Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird one. I don't know why it just made me think of that. Like, I know why they're saying it here because actually their upbringing was probably very militaristic, and they obviously have a lot of respect for John, and he probably demands that respect as well, especially when they were younger.
And especially in this kind of like the way that the question was asked, it wasn't like it needed a direct response. Basically, it's not like a. How are you doing? I'm doing fine, sir. No, it was like you completed your mission. Yes, sir.
Yes. Oh, yes. So, I mean, John explains that he's kind of close to this, like, getting to this demon, that he's going to kill it. And he says that he's not just going to, like, stop it. He's not just going to, like, exorcise it or send it to hell. He's going to kill it. He doesn't know how he's going to do that yet, or he does know and he's not telling. But that's why they're trying to stop him by using them as bait, essentially. Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting, you know, that they're making this really big deal about killing a demon.
Mm-hmm. I
know. Like it's just so funny at this point.
Yeah.
Looking back, It would be interesting to see what, like, the body count would be after this. Yeah, so he explains he's going to kill the demon, and then I wrote next to it, like it's hard. I mean, yes, at this point it is. They don't have the weaponry and all that kind of stuff. But and then Sam offers to help, which kind of leads back to the earlier conversation of, like, he wants this done. Like, he wants to be involved. He wants to get to the bottom of this, and he's kind of almost going a little bit backwards with his, like, revenge, like, fantasy, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but, like, John just basically shoots him down and says, no, you know, I don't, like, I'm going to be worried about you getting hurt, and, like, so, okay. Again,
okay.
this is a Crypt Key episode, so there's going to be elements of future plot points in this, right?
Yeah.
So does he mean directly Sam? He doesn't want to get hurt, or he means the you in general?
Oh, good question.
Because how much does he know?
See, this is what I think. I think John knows more here than he's letting on. You know, he says he's concerned for them. So he's worried, and like he says he's worried because he's their father, right? So
yeah,
I think there's two sides to this. I think he's worried that they'll get hurt, and then he's worried about what will happen to Sam specifically.
You're right. It doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. It could be both.
Yeah, I think it's both. I mean, you know, they kind of reconcile. Like, he tells Sam that it's good to see him again after, like, such a long time, and they do hug them. And I like the way Dean's kind of in the background, and then it focused on him, and he, like, kind of looks teary, happy. So he's kind of getting what he wants here. Like, the family's back together for a brief moment, very brief moment.
So okay. I just have to say something. So again, because I was trying to get through this episode at this point because I was like, this is too much, I can't deal with it. So I was writing as the episode was playing, and just as I was writing, like, you know, because obviously it seems like Sam and John have made up, and like, you know, it's a guy thing, of course, or a Winchester thing, who knows, that they hug and make up. Sarah, I hate Crypt Key episodes just because this is too much. But I wasn't really paying attention, and then the freaking Deva, like, attacks, and it's super loud, and I basically screamed because it scared me because I was not expecting to, like, have this thing just, like, rip him apart and, like, throw Sam across the room.
See, I knew because there were still like 10 minutes of the episode left, so I was like, well, this is the end, is it? But basically what happens is, as John is hugging Sam, he kind of looks over at Dean and then instantly gets attacked. And Dean shouts like, no, you know, his typical one. Then we go outside the hotel or wherever they are, and we see Meg. She's kind of like playing with like an amulet thing, which I guess is probably related to controlling the Deva. And I said here her eyes are black, but I had to go back and check.
And are they?
I think so. The problem is with this earlier demons is that not the whole like sclera of the eye goes black.
That's right.
We saw that first at the pilot. So I think so. It was dark, but I'm pretty sure she had black eyes. But like, I wouldn't bet my life on it. So yeah, we see her. She's still alive. And then John is kind of like pinned to a cabinet, getting all torn up by this Deva. Dean's getting like thrown around the room, kind of. Sam seems to be the only one that's kind of being left alone a little bit, although he's still got cuts and stuff. But he's got a plan, so it's fine. He says, shut your eyes, there are shadows, so we'll light them up. And he drops a flare into the middle of the room.
Yep. I wrote here, action movie dialogue is the best dialogue. Because it really is. It's like, these things are shadow demon. Let's light them up. It's like, oh, dear.
If that was like real life, I know, like, this sounds stupid, but you wouldn't say that last bit. You'd just be like, shut your eyes, like, drop it. Yeah, there's no need for the quips.
Yeah, no, definitely not. So I don't actually know like Kripke's background, like what kind of shows he's written beyond Supernatural and The Boys. And obviously The Boys is like a comic book, so it's like action. Mm-hmm. So like, do you think this is where he usually leans to? Because he's also very good at writing, like, you know, the emotional stuff too. So that's, you know.
Yeah, I think I do. I think I feel like there's some kind of background in comics there that I'm like maybe misremembering, but I feel like there is. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, I think he does lean towards this more actions hero side of things sometimes.
Yeah. Dean goes over to John to help him get up and get out.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're all like blinded by this flare that's incredibly bright.
Yeah.
Because the Davis they scatter because it's the light, and they manage to get like outside to where their cars are.
Mm-hmm.
And this conversation that Dean initiates is like, these are too much. These conversations are too heavy because like Sam literally just asked what Dean wanted, and he got what he wanted. He got his family together, but he recognizes that it's not the right thing to do at this time, and tells John to leave. Like, how difficult is that? Like,
Dad, you can't come with us.
What? What are you talking about?
Hey, you boys, you're beat to hell.
We'll be all right. Dean, we should stick together. We'll go after this demon.
Sam, listen to me.
It's part of the self-sacrificing nature of Dean that he can't have what he wants if it thinks isn't any way going to put anyone else in danger. Big sigh.
Yes.
Yeah, he's not allowed to be happy. That's what he thinks. No. So
that's true.
Yeah, so he tells John that, you know, he needs to go because Sam and Dean are his weakness, and they're going to keep using them against him while they're around. But okay, fine. But again, if you know that, you can prepare for it. I feel like they could have stayed together at this point.
And also, if you're not going to answer your phone, how are you going to know that they're not in trouble when you're not there anyway?
Good point. Answer your phone.
Like, can you imagine, like, he left a message and Dean's like screaming because they're being tortured by demons? Like, come on. Like, what are you going to do then?
Yeah, I mean, the times that he hasn't arrived, you know, speak more than the times that he did.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess third time was the charm. Anyway, yeah, I have my thoughts. I have mixed feelings about John Winchester because at the same time, yes, he's a terrible father. Like, yes. But at the same time, sometimes he's exactly what they need him to be. And it's really tough because sometimes he is just like, yes, we're doing it this way. I don't know if it always works out though. I don't know where I'm going with this. This is this is a non-starter.
Another thing though, where does this obsession with family for Dean come from? Just thinking it in context.
Mm-hmm.
He's 27 years old.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to start his own family.
No.
He wants his family unit back together. To me, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that the promise is that like he lost his mother at like a really young age, right? So and we find out later on the way he talks about Mary, she's beyond John in like idolization.
Yeah, this is true.
She's a completely sort of mythical character to him. Of the time when everyone was happy, everyone was great, and that's when everyone was together. So that would mess you up, right?
Yeah, that's true. And also to see your dad then go into this like massive downward spiral.
Mm-hmm. yeah, the only time that Dean's ever been really happy is when all of his family have been together. So he will equate happiness with family. I made myself sad.
And so, like, as John is walking away, he says the line that the fight is just starting. And there was a moment here that I was like, oh, season 4 makes complete sense now.
Yes. Yeah.
It all clicked in this one moment.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh.
So, I mean, John has a massive foreshadowing line here where he says,
I gotta be a part of this fight. Amy, this fight is just starting. And we are all gonna have a part to play. For now, you gotta trust me, son. Okay, you gotta let me go.
the parts to play thing is the main theme.
Yes.
I would say at least up till season 5, probably beyond that as well. I think it does edge into some of the other ones as well. But yes, Kripke and his foreshadowing, he likes it.
He does.
So, I mean, yes. Annabelle's on my theory train. Well, I mean, it's not really, it's pretty much established canon at this point. But, yeah. I mean, so John he goes in his massive truck. He has a massive truck. And he says, "Be careful, boys." And Meg watches them all go in opposite directions.
I really liked how they did this. Like, they zoomed into the Impala and, like, kind of panned. And then it shows Meg. And so, because Meg looks confused.
Yeah.
Like, because I still don't think she knows that the Impala is their car, actually. I know we said this earlier.
Yeah.
But because it passes her, and, like, she sort of, like, looks over her shoulder, like, wait, they got away? Kind of thing.
Yeah. I guess she thought they would get more hurt, or one of them would get killed, or maybe she expected them all to stay together. There's a few options there. But, I can't wait till the next episode. There's a lot to unpack in this one, to be honest. Yeah, there was a lot.
I feel like the next episode is not anything related to this heavy episode.
Of course not. Why would it be? Why would we have constant narrative?
Right, exactly. Well, maybe because they don't want to overload us, because this was too much. But, so we established a group of characters, which I didn't know was in season 1. I thought it was way later than this.
Oh my gosh, is it?
Yes, it is. It is. It is what you think it is. Next week's episode is Hell House.
I'm so excited.
It's a good one. I do enjoy it. Hang on 1 second. Oh, you know, Kripke is such a sadist. I'm sorry. Okay, so
I'm getting it on a t-shirt.
So Shadow was released February 28th, 2006.
Right.
Hell House was released March 30th, so 1 month later.
So you were like waiting that whole month and then
no follow-up, no nothing. Like, what is this? What is this?
Oh my god.
Oh. And they did this last time with there was that like 3-month break.
Yes. Evil man. I mean, guess the network. But yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm really looking forward to Hell House. That's gonna be such a fun episode.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I really enjoyed this episode. Such good character development, such good conversations, so much anger to be had. It makes you feel better to get it out, I think.
It does, yeah. It's horrible when you're watching it, but then, like, when we actually come down to sit and talk about it, it's not that bad.
Yeah, the talking about it definitely helps. Wow. We made some progress in our trip through supernatural purgatory this week. There were some dark moments, but hopefully next week we can find our way out. Bye.
Bye.